What's up guys, welcome back to Toon Duelists. Today we show you the last deck of our poll, which is the Ojama Spright deck profile. Now I always thought the Ojamas were one of the coolest, funniest monsters, and also the appearance in the anime of course is what made them so funny. So I of course always wanted to play a deck with them, and this is my take of trying to make it as good as possible actually, because of course the Spright engine works great with the Ojamas, just as the Spright engine works with any deck that can bring out level 2 monsters. Of course it is still an Ojama deck, so it's a rogue deck at best, but a very funny deck, very fun to play, and you can actually bring out some amazing boards. I'm super excited to show it to you guys, so without further ado, let's dive right into it. As always, we start things off with the monsters, and the first one we're talking about are 6 monsters this time, because we play 2 copies of Ojama Green, 2 copies of Ojama Yellow, and of course 2 copies of Ojama Black. Now those are just our usual extenders. Of course the classic Ojamas belong in every Ojama deck. We can summon them with Unexpected Die and various other cards like Ojama for example, and extend this way. And the reason we need 2 of each is because of course we want to resolve our copy of Ojamagic, which searches all 3 of them, and so you always want to make sure that you have 1 of each in your deck, or otherwise Ojamagic won't be able to resolve. So that's why you play 2 of each of the classical Ojamas. And to round up the Ojama cards, actually the other Ojama we run are 2 copies of Ojama Pink. Now, from all the other Ojama monsters, Pink is by far the most useful. Of course, Ojama Blue is a great searcher, but the fact that it has to be destroyed by battle makes Ojama Spright a going second deck, which is not really a good thing for the Spright engine or the Ojamas. So not really worth it. Ojama Red can be, of course, a great extender and has the potential to flood your monster zone, but you're not lacking of materials most of the time, and Ojama Red is just, too much of a gamble. So Ojama Pink is really great, because if this is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can make you and your opponent draw 1 card and then discard a card, and if you discarded an Ojama card, you can block 1 monster zone until the end of your opponent's next turn. This is pretty neat. It lets us dig into the deck, it lets you discard Ojama cards most of the time, so maybe your Ojamagic for example, and block your opponent monster zone. So yeah, Ojama Pink is by far the best Ojama and a solid 2-off. And next we of course also run 1 copy of Dark Armed Dragon. Well, maybe not of course, this might be a surprise, but with the effect of Ojama, you need a target, so you need an Armed Dragon monster to search, and this is the one. And it actually can be played in this deck. You need to have exactly 3 dark monsters in your graveyard, then you can special summon this card, and you can banish a dark monster from your graveyard and target 1 card on the field and destroy it. And this is not a once per turn, so pretty decent card, and you can bring it out with your Spright Jet, Spright Blue, or your Giant Spright, IP Masquerena. You have various options to fill your grave with 3 dark monsters, so yeah, not even that bad. And the last one that can be considered an Ojama card is 3 copies of Rescue Cat. Of course no Ojama card, but works perfectly with the Ojamas, because you can send this card to the graveyard and special summon 2 level 3 or lower beast monsters from your deck, but their effects are negated and they're destroyed during the end phase. So just great card for your normal summon. You can extend and bring 2 Ojamas on the field, so most of the time your pink Ojama and another one, and can go into a link play. You can play your Spright engine, so yeah, just great card, definite 3-off right here. Next we talk about the Spright engine, and the first one we're talking about is Spright Blue. Amazing card design, always love this one. And of course we play 3 copies, because Spright Blue has the effect, just like every other Spright, that if you control a level or rank 2 monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if it is special summoned, this Spright lets you add a Spright monster from your deck to your hand, except blue. So yeah, just searcher, easy special summonable in this one. Of course you have to keep in mind you always need to special summon your Sprites, because their effects only go off if they are special summoned. But of course blue, starter, safe 3-off right here, just like our next one, which is Spright Jet. Also great starter in this deck, with the same summoning conditions, but if this one is special summoned, you can add a Spright Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand, so also amazing effect. Then of course we also play 1 copy of Spright Red. Again, amazing design and amazing summoning effect. just like all the other sprites. And when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can tribute one of the level, rank or link 2 monster, negate the effect, and if the tributed monster was a rank or link 2 monster, you can destroy the monster. So monster negate right here, amazing. And basically Sprite Carrot is the next one that does the same with spells or traps. So these are the two sprites you want to end on and you want to keep on the field. And guys, that's already it for the monsters. Next up, let's talk about the spells in this deck, and the first one we're talking about is of course 3 copies of Unexpected Die. Amazing card in this deck. If you control no monsters, you can special summon one level 4 or lower normal monster from your deck. So just great extender going first. We bring out one of our vanilla Ojamas. Great card, extender, definite 3 of. And of course we also run 3 polymerization. We have exactly 3 fusion monsters, which are copies of our Ojama Knight and Ojama King, of course. So we want to draw into our polymerization, and this is definitely something the Ojamas need, their own fusion spell. I don't know what to call it, Ojama fusion, doesn't matter. But yeah, until we get that, we have to stick with 3 copies of the regular polymerization. Then of course, we also play 3 copies of Oja Magic. Also real classic, simple but powerful effect, because if this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can add one Ojama Green, Ojama Yellow and Ojama Black from your deck to your hand. Amazing searcher, and we have plenty of cards to activate it or just, you know, discard it, whatever, so we can use the effect. So yeah, great card and definite 3 of. And the final Ojama spell or trap we run are 3 copies of Oja Match. Also amazing quick spell right here. You can send one Ojama card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard and add to your hand one Ojama monster with a different name and an armed dragon monster from your deck and or graveyard, and then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon one of those monsters. So basically you discard an Ojama card, best would of course be your Oja Magic for example, then add an Ojama and directly normal summon it, and you also add your Dark Armed Dragon. But of course you have to watch out, if you drew into your Dark Armed Dragon or you already used Oja Match, of course the others are useless unless you can somehow discard your Dark Armed Dragon to add it back from the graveyard or something. Just a little something you have to keep in mind playing this card, but of course also an extender most of the time. Great card, definite 3 of. And oh, guess it wasn't the last Ojama spell. Totally forgot about this one, because the last Ojama spell we run are 3 copies of Ojama Country. The field spell of the archetype with the great effect that once per turn you can send an Ojama card from your hand to the graveyard and special summon one Ojama monster from your graveyard. So easy, you can discard Oja Magic, would be the best of course, to bring out one of your Ojamas in the grave. Great effect, great extender actually. And also if you control an Ojama monster, you switch the original ATK and defense of all monsters on the field, which can actually be pretty nasty for your opponent and power up some of your own monsters like Red or Carrot for example. Next up, we run 3 copies of Sprite Starter. Of course we do, best sprite spell out there. This quick spell has the effect that you can special summon a sprite monster from your deck, but you lose life points equal to its original attack, and also you're locked into level, rank and link 2 monsters for the rest of this turn. This is actually something you have to keep in mind, because of course you have your fusion monsters, none of those is level 2, and of course you have some higher link ratings too, so definitely something to keep in mind. But nonetheless, great card, combo starter, definite 3 of. Then we also play 1 copy of Sprite Gamma Burst. This one is actually pretty great, can win you duels sometimes, because all level, rank and link 2 monsters currently on the field gain 1400 ATK and defense until the end of this turn. Also, during your main phase, you can banish this card from a graveyard, target 1 level, rank, link 2 monster you control, and let it gain 1400 attack points again until the end of your opponent's turn. So, amazing card right here. You can flood with Ojamas and Sprites the whole field, and if you get this in the hand, this can be it for an OTK, and you can go in with 5 level 2 monsters with now insane amounts of attack. And yeah, great card, but 1 is of course enough because we can search it with Jet. And this is also the reason we only run 1 copy of Sprite Smashes. Also great card, basically allows us to banish a Sprite card from your hand or graveyard for cost, and then you can banish a level, rank or link 2 monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls. So nice interruption during your opponent's turn, but 1 is of course enough. You can search it with Jet if you need to. And guys, that's already it for the main deck. So for the extra deck, we start things off with the OG Ojama King. The classic, this level 6 monster needs Ojama Green, Ojama Yellow and Ojama Black of course, and you can select up to 3 of your opponent's monster card zones, and the selected zones cannot be used. 3000 defense of course with Ojama Country, 3000 attack points. Amazing card, but hard to bring out actually, even with Ojamagic and all the stuff. You don't really have the space for searches for polymerization, so you have to be lucky to draw into your poly. So yeah, you won't bring out Ojama King that often, but when it comes out, it's always a great card. And this is also the reason we run 2 copies of the Ojama Knight. Because this guy only needs 2 Ojama monsters, which is of course easier, and you can select up to 2 of your opponent's monster card zones and they can't be used. 2500 defense, so yeah, definitely the better of those 2 fusions. But since Ojamagic is a thing, you always want to run 1 King 2. Of course, you could also say you only run 2 Ojama Knights, but I think this ratio is great, just to have the chance to run the original Ojama King. Then of course we also run 2 copies of Gigantic Spright. Best Spright extra deck monster out there. Needs 2 level 2 monsters, and of course if you summon this card you can treat link 2 monsters you control as level 2 monsters, and once this card has a fusion, synchro, xyz or link monster as material, its attack is doubled, which is already insane. Also during your main phase you can activate this effect, detach a material and special summon 1 level 2 monster from your deck, but you're locked into summoning level, rank or link 2 monsters this turn. So this one can also bring out your Ojamas if needed, but of course most of the time will bring out the remaining negate of the sprite, so red or carrot. Amazing card, definite 2-off. You can use it in every turn basically, you'll get into your Gigantic Spright, but 2 are definitely enough. Then we also run 1 copy of number 65, Djinn-Buster. This guy needs 2 dark level 2 monsters and has the effect that when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can attach 2 materials from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent. Now the only 2 monsters we have that fit the description are Sprite Jet and Sprite Blue, but since they're easy searchable and special summonable, and if played right, you have them as leftovers on the field, then of course you can go into Djinn-Buster. Just great card, another monster negate you can bring out. And of course we run things up with 1 Zeus. If you attack with one of your Xyz monsters, it's just great to go into Zeus and bust the field like this. And that's already it for the Xyz lineup. Next we of course run 1 copy of the classic Link Spider. Don't have to explain that one, just great extender. You use one of your vanilla Ojamas, go into Link Spider, and if you have another vanilla Ojama in hand, you can special summon it with Link Spider and then go into any of your Link 2 monsters. For example, your IP Masquerena. Of course, we do run her. Just amazing card. And of course, when there's IP, there's SP. Just also both amazing cards in this deck, of course. The other Link 2 we run is 1 Nightmare Phoenix. For spell trap removal is actually not that bad, and at least sometimes you need a Link 2 monster to use for your Gigantic Spright in turn 1, so you don't want to waste your IP or your SP on that one, so that's why Phoenix is a great option right here. And the final Link 2 monster we play is 1 copy of Moon of the Closed Heaven. Now this one is actually also great in the deck because, as I already said, we flood the field with monsters, and this card only needs 2 effect monsters, and you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and this card points to, and this turn if you link summon a Link 5 monster using this card you control, you can also use the monster your opponent controls. So it basically lets you summon your Underworld Goddess of the Closed World with 2 monsters of your opponent instead of 1. So also just great card, negates the effects of all monsters on summon and then is unaffected by card effects unless they target it. And if your opponent wants to special summon a monster from the graveyard, you can also negate the activation. So yeah, just great card in total. And then we also run 1 copy of Ojama Emperor. Also great card, needs 3 beast monsters including an Ojama monster, so basically 3 Ojamas in this deck. And while Ojama Country is in the field zone, it gains 3000 attack points and also it can be destroyed by card effects. Your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from attacks on this card instead, and you can also target a non-link Ojama monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and for the rest of this turn you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except fusion monsters. So I have to admit, this one doesn't come up that often, but you have some tricky situations where the Ojamas are the only thing left for you, so one copy won't hurt, and that's the reason it's here. And the final extra deck monster we run is one copy of Access Code Talker. Well, just a great Link 4 monster to finish your opponent off, OTK, rush a lot of cards on the field, and that's already it with the extra deck. Guys, that's it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed and that I was able to show you how amazing this deck is. Now, as I already said, of course, as an Ojama deck, it's a rogue deck, but with the Sprite cards, this deck really shines, and of course, a little electricity never hurt nobody. And one final thing maybe, I've decided not to play Ojama Simulation and not the ABC Dragon Buster, because of course in order for your other cards to work, you most of the time rely on playing level 2 monsters, and if you're drawing in one of your A, B or C monsters, it's basically useless. So yeah, that's why I decided not to play this one. Guys, definitely let me know what you think about this deck profile. I'm always excited to hear what you have to say about it. If you want to see how it performs, definitely check out our combo video with the link in the description. And of course, as always, if you like the content, please consider liking and subscribing. This would really mean a lot to us. And until next time, have a good one.